Welcome to Love Talk. I'm Gregory Morgan. Thank you for joining my show. Part of being in love, part of sharing, part of gift giving has to do with that part of us who wants to look forward out into the future with a hope and a desire for it to be better than it is today. This is what has been a fundamental thing in terms of how our brain functions and how our mental and psychological makeup as human beings is that we are overwhelmingly optimistic. Human beings are overwhelmingly optimistic. We have a pre-programmed inclination to see things as turning out better tomorrow, in the future, a year from now. You see, we look out into the future. What future? There is no future except the one that's in your imagination. You're imagining a future, so you look out into this imaginary future. Where do those images come from? Everything that you've seen, touched, tasted, heard, smelled, felt, experienced in your life, and even including experiences had by others who were shared with you, who they told you about them, and so you imagine them in that moment. So all of those things filter into your memory, and the memory is made up like a tapestry, like a fine rug woven together of many, many different threads of thoughts, feelings, emotions, actual experiences, and imaginary experiences, and experiences that happen to others. And then you have feelings, words, and images that go with all of that, and it holds it all together. And when we put all of that together, it gets stored in the back, stored in the subconscious, if you will, below the level of consciousness, and is instantly accessed. So every time you look out into the future, you're making reference to the past. You're looking into the past to check out what is most likely to be the future, rather than creating a future from nothing. If you look out into the future and it's just completely blank, that will scare you. So almost out of fear, we project the past onto the future, and then we give it a little twist, we brighten the color, we put some music to it, we put some fantasy to it to make it look ever brighter and more appealing so that we move forward. If we didn't have this function, I'll just say it like that, I'm sure that's a word, in our brain, then we wouldn't even want to get up in the morning. If we didn't think that tomorrow or today would be better than yesterday, or tomorrow will be better than today, we wouldn't go to work. We wouldn't go to school. We wouldn't study. We wouldn't learn anything. We wouldn't fall in love. We wouldn't take care of ourselves. We'd just let our physical body degenerate. We wouldn't go to the gym. We wouldn't eat good food. Why would we? Because if we looked out into the future and saw that it was going to be worse than today, or that tomorrow's going to be less than yesterday, then would just be in a state of perpetual depression, probably just kill each other, which we're doing anyhow, even in spite of all of this. Can you see how? The reason I'm saying all of this is because the future that you're looking into, hopefully with a brighter future, in other words, this enlightened future, this brighter future that you instinctively, by default, have programmed into your system, this brighter future is a fantasy. This is the point I'm trying to make. It is a fantasy. Now, it is a good thing that as an adult even, you participate in this fantasy because, like I said, if you didn't, you'd be depressed and you'd just stop everything and wouldn't do anything, because why would you? What would be the point? If it's not going to be any better, why bother? Now, take that little piece of information, the fact that we look out into a fantasized future, and we create it and we brighten it. We brighten it up so that it looks better, so that it's compelling and we want to move forward. Put that piece of information on the side for a minute, because we're going to come back to it, because religions and religious rituals and holidays are part of that fantastical thinking, if you will. It's part of the fantastical thinking. It's part of the imaginary future. I look forward to Christmas. I could say billions of people look forward regardless of what religion they practice, or if they're no religion at all. You know, I'm going to talk about the ones I know about, and that's that I know millions of people that look forward to Christmas. They love the Christmas tree, even if they're not Christian, if they practice other religions in their daily life. You know, they like the music, they like the reindeer and the Santa Claus and all the stuff that goes with this childish fantasy that is very delightful delightful to participate in, delightful to look forward to. You know, the evidence for this is the billions of Christmas trees that are sold every year and the billions and billions of dollars worth of Christmas gifts that are sold. If you don't think there are hundreds of thousands of people that look forward to Christmas, just go down to Costco, go down to your local mall, and you will see that you can't find a parking place. So many people are looking forward to Christmas and to giving and receiving gifts. It's a nice fantasy. It helps families get together. Look at the travel schedule of all of the airlines. Billions of people are going to be flying all over the world, spending billions of dollars traveling to go see their family and friends. I think that's wonderful. Hotels are going to sell out. You know, there'll be millions of music concerts. There'll be gifts given. There'll be laughter. There'll be song. There'll be tears shed. It's a time of fantastical thinking that does a sort of cleansing, if you will. It's the end of the year. We can all sort of look forward to it together. It's an agreed upon reality. Now, that's something that you might want to think about. You see, there's fantasy, there's what we call interim reality, that it's sort of a fantasy, but it's got so much evidence around it that it seems real. So I'll call it seeming reality or interim reality. Interim meaning in between. And then there's reality. And nobody knows what reality is. We can talk about reality, but I guarantee you, most of you do not know what reality is. For the sake of this conversation, let's say that reality is agreed upon. In other words, we can all agree that there's a cup here. For example, if you were here with me, I could hand it to you. You could see it, taste it, feel it, touch it, measure it. It has a weight, a size, and it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. That's how you measure reality. There was a time when this cup was not here. There's a time while it is here. Now, it could be hundreds of thousands of years because it's made out of stainless steel. And there will be a time, sometime, when it is not here anymore as a cup. The molecules and atoms will be someplace because they never leave. But it will not be a cup anymore. So it has a beginning, middle, and end in time. And it has a beginning, a middle, and an end, right? Middle and an end. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's measurable in space. It has a place where it's not and a place where it is. And then there's another place over on the other side where it's not again. You can always measure reality. If you want to know if something's real, ask yourself, can you measure it? Can you take a picture of it with a camera? Can you pick it up? If it meets all of those criteria and everybody agrees that it's there, if you're experiencing that and nobody else sees it, you may be schizophrenic and that's a whole nother question. But if everybody can agree that that's a cup and everybody can agree that that's a computer and there's some agreement in space and time, those are your two masters, if you will. You master space and time, you master reality. We're going to call that, for the sake of this conversation, reality. If you want to be happy in your life, if you want to be happy, you want to be healthy, you want to be prosperous, you want to have abundance in your life, then participation is what causes that. When you participate with other human beings, and listen, you don't have to like everybody and love everybody. Participate with them. Engage in conversation. Engage in actions and participation with other human beings. And what happens is your self-absorbed thinking cannot stand up to that. It gets dispersed. You can't be self-absorbed and into yourself while you're busy participating with other people and interacting with them. It's hard to keep both those things going at the same time. So there's a willingness to open yourself up and speak with other people and participate with other people. There are certain things that, if you've ever practiced an instrument, a martial art, or dance, or painting, or sculpture, any kind of art that requires practice, and skill and mastery, then you know what I'm talking about when I say that. The biggest part of all of that is what you visualize in your mind. What you visualize, and then on the inside, you maybe give it words, you say certain things to yourself, you describe things in visual images. That's what imagining is, isn't it? Imaging. You're creating images in your mind, and then you project them out into the world through words and actions and so forth until you master your art, whatever it is. You know, as a martial artist, I practiced certain moves that I was not very good at, but I would practice them over and over in my mind. I would see myself doing them perfectly. And then it was easier for my body to make those movements once I had mastered the movement mentally and in my imaging. So the same is true whether it's you're applied to business, whether it's applied to personal relationships. You know, imagine conversations with somebody in which the outcome is joyful and complete. Imagine, what would you say to them? What would they say to you? How would that turn out? Rehearse it and go through it, and then have that conversation with those people if you need to. I'm pointing at getting complete, completing what is incomplete in the past, something that you've been maybe carrying around with you for the whole year. I don't get through a year without having things happen that I really don't like. I don't want to see it again. Sometimes it's extremely upsetting, or sometimes it's just very disappointing. I don't carry those things around with me. Now, I've practiced letting those things go as quickly as possible. As soon as something happens and I'm really disappointed or upset or whatever, I allow myself to experience that upset or that disappointment completely right then and there on the moment. I don't shove it down. I get as sad as I'm going to get about it. You know, if I want to cry, I cry as much as until I'm just done. If I'm mad, I get as mad as I want to get about it until I'm done being mad. You will see that anger, sadness, joy, all of the emotions are real emotions using the same model that I expressed earlier, real in space and time. It's a real feeling. It has a time when it's not there, so it has a beginning. It has a middle in which it intensifies and gets about as emotional as you're going to get, you know, as angry or as in love or as horny or as disappointed as you're going to get. And then there's a time when that's past and you look back and it's just gone. You don't feel that anymore. It's just gone. Okay? It's like a cloud that went by. When they're coming from the horizon, the clouds look heavy and scary and like that, and they dump all this rain and then they go away and then the sky's blue again and you're like, oh, it's like it never rained. Emotions are like that too. The only emotions that stay for a long time are those that you keep carrying forward into the future. What future? The imaginary future. The future that you're pretending is about to happen. Because you don't know. The best you can do is pretend. The very best you can do is pretend that you know what's about to happen. And that's all that we're ever doing. We're pretty good at it, but it doesn't mean that it's inevitable, you see. You're pretending that your relationships are going to turn out a certain way. You don't know that they are, but the more you pretend that they're going to be that way, the more likely they will be. So if you're going to pretend anyhow, if you're going to make up future realities in your imagination and then live as if they're true, you can't stop doing it. It's automatic. If you're going to do that anyhow, then you might as well create a future that's full of joy, participation, fulfillment, full self-expression, love, health. Why not wealth, being rich? Why not being completely healthy and getting more and more healthy all the time? Why not create that future for yourself in which all of your needs are fulfilled and you have an abundance of everything, time, money, energy, love, to share with everyone else and to give freely to those you meet because you can afford to, because you have more than enough anyhow. In fact, you have so much love, abundance, health, well-being, energy that if you don't give it away, it's going to start to impact you in a negative way. So it's almost for your better health that you continue to express yourself. You can create that future. Now, does that exist? No, that doesn't exist. That does not exist. That I made that up right here on the spot. And you could make that up too. Why not? You're going to make up a future anyhow. You can't stop. You're making up a future right now as you're listening to me. You're taking these words and images and thoughts and sounds, you're interpreting them and comparing them to the past and imagining something. And as I say certain words, you toss these futures out, and it's kind of like tossing little pebbles in a pond. They make ripples, and those ripples impact your future. Those ripples are ripples in the fabric of space, time, and reality. Now that may sound a little cosmic to you, but that's actually pretty measurable as well. I am asserting what I'm saying because if you understand anything about quantum physics, you understand that it's all energy out there. It's all energy out there, and that your thoughts and your words as human beings are very powerful and have the ability to impact, in other words, cause ripples in the fabric of space and time. And I've said it 1,000 times on these shows, this never existed at one point. Did not exist. Somebody imagined it. It was a thought, and it went out into space and time. It ended up being a real object that has the ability to stay around for thousands and thousands of years. A stainless steel cup, even if it was plastic, it would still could be around for thousands and thousands of years. So somebody made that up and then actually caused it into physical reality. That's pretty far out, isn't it? Now you've done that, and you've been doing it all your life. You've been creating physical reality out of your thoughts, especially those thoughts that are infused with tremendous energy. Those thoughts that you have that are infused with high, intense emotion are the most likely things to come out. It's like throwing a bigger rock into the pond instead of a little pebble. If you throw a big rock into the pond, it makes a splash and the waves are bigger coming back, and they come back faster and with more intensity. Be careful, especially about anything that follows the word I am. If you're using the word I am and then following it with words that you don't want to be, stop doing that. Before you say those words, consider what is the opposite of that. So if you have a habit of saying, I am depressed, or I am whatever, okay, that you don't want to have manifested out there, stop saying that and say, what would be true, but the opposite? I am somebody who has not yet figured out how to be joyful, and I'm working on it. That would be also true, just as true, and just as powerful, actually more powerful. Since we're talking about energy, I want you to know that negative thoughts have a very low energy, and if we were measuring it, and they have with electrocardiograms hooked up to people's brains, and they will feed them negative thoughts. They'll say, think of this, think of that, think of that, and they'll send, give them negative input. Those negative thoughts and feelings come up as about 6 megahertz. Then when they say have a positive thought, and then same person, same electrocardiograph, and they feed them positive thoughts. Think of this, think of this, think of this, imagine this, remember that, remember a happy thought, think of the person that you love, think of the time that when you were loved and acknowledged, when you felt empowered, think of a victory that you've had in the past, think of a victory you'd like to have in the future. In other words, positive thoughts. Those thoughts registered something like 23 to 26 megahertz on the same electrocardiogram. In other words, low thoughts look about like this, okay, and positive thoughts look about like this, okay, on the electrocardiogram. Okay, so the good news is, the positive thought, the good news is, negative thoughts don't stand a chance against positive thoughts. Negative thoughts are so weak that it's like getting run over by a truck. When you take the time, it's very simple practice. Very simple practice. Just when you're about to utter something bad, especially about yourself, something that would disempower you, something that would drain your energy, something that would make your batteries go lower, just before if you could catch yourself to do that before it comes out of your mouth, because your words have power. It's like throwing something out into the future and it resonates. So, but just before you throw that out there, stop yourself. Train yourself to stop yourself and go, that's not what I mean. What I meant to say, and now think about it. It's going to take some effort on your part. What is the thing that you could say that would be the opposite, but true, okay? If you say, using the example from before, instead of saying, I am depressed, if you said, I am an angel with wings flying over the earth, no, that's not going to help. That's a fantasy. It's nice. It's pretty. It's childish. But it's not something you can grab your teeth onto. It's not something that you could say, okay, this is actually real. To say something like, I am a person who's learning to be happier. I am a person practicing rightful mindedness. I'm a person who is learning to overcome hardship and be whole and happy and healthy and fully expressed and complete. Whatever words that you want. There are many, many positive words that when you just say the word, if you were measuring the brain waves, it would be a spike. Certain words have certain spikes to them because they have positive images with them. So I'm really giving you an idea of how to begin to train your mind so that you take control of your environment. You take control of the meaning of the things that are happening in your life. There's lots of stuff happening in your life that has no meaning whatsoever except the meaning that people give it. You know, the sun gets at a certain place and then the days get longer and the nights get shorter. That has no intrinsic meaning. That's just a measurable physiological fact. Doesn't mean that it's the coming of the light and the time of darkness. It doesn't mean that you should go out and give gifts. It doesn't mean any of that, you see. It has no intrinsic meaning. So the world is full of things like that have no meaning, yet people give them huge meaning, right? They give them huge meaning and then they live their life in the shadow of that meaning. Now you could also live your life in the light of a meaning that you created. Don't accept default meanings is what I'm trying to tell you. Don't accept the meaning that everybody else says is the meaning without at least questioning whether that empowers you or works for you or not. If it doesn't work for you, don't do it. If a meaning given by society, and I don't care, you could be the only person in the world that doesn't agree. That's all right with me. Sometimes I feel like I'm the only person in the world that doesn't agree with certain things that everybody else believes is true. And every now and then I meet somebody who's actually been thinking about things themselves and they have similar thoughts. You know, I immediately fall in love with those people because now we have something to talk about. Well, you know, because you can begin to doubt yourself sometimes, can't you? You begin to doubt whether your thinking is true if everybody else in the whole world seems to be thinking something else, but you see that that couldn't be true and that there must be some other way, and you begin to think about it, and you spend a lifetime like I have thinking about these things and studying about them and considering them and looking for the answers. Well, then I propose that you begin to find your own answers. I'm here to give you as many answers as I can about as many questions as you have to ask. You know, it's my pleasure to do that. I love to do that. Really, that's what this show is about. Not for me to give you a lecture about space, time, and Christmas, right? What are some of the things that you're confronted with, and that maybe if we could have a conversation, I could offer you another perspective, another point of view that would actually open up something and give you more freedom, more possibilities, more choices in your life. That's what I'm about. That's what Embrace Growth's about. Whoever has the most choices, the most flexibility, it's not about having the most information. It's not about that. Information is just information. It doesn't set you free. It may give you some power to deal with things, but it doesn't give you freedom and happiness and joy and full self-expression. It's just knowledge. Knowledge doesn't make you happy, you know, unless somebody gives you a new Mercedes-Benz for Christmas and you just found that out. Make you happy for a minute, but that's not really what makes you happy. Nobody wants to experience pain. We're all designed to move away from pain and to move towards pleasure, so we have relationships in hopes of having a pleasurable experience, in hopes of having an ongoing engagement in fun and self-expression and self-exploration and discovering oneself and another. How do human beings do that the best? Human beings do that the best when they're playing, when they're actually interacting, playing a game, playing fantasy. As children growing up, how we learned how to interact with others, how we learned how to interpret things and what was fair and not fair, and what made us feel good and what made us feel bad, what gave us hope and strength and made us proud of ourselves, what made us ashamed of ourselves. We learned about shame and honor and integrity, all of those principles that if you just learned them mentally, somebody read them from a book or taught them to you in a class, you wouldn't get it. It wouldn't mean anything. It would be superficial. It would be an intellectual understanding of a concept. How you really learn is by doing. You tend to forget what we see. We see so much that we tend to forget a lot of things that we see, and that's by design, the brain protecting itself from too much information. We tend to remember a little more what we hear, but what we really remember is what we do, what you have physically done and interacted with. And if that doing is infused with fun and belonging and participation and acceptance and then it is a learning experience that is not only pleasurable, but in which you can begin to embrace those challenges as just part of the game. When you're playing a game, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. There are different rounds. You lose a round, but maybe you win the game later. All of that is part of the game. So while we celebrate our losses and we, mourn we celebrate our our wins, and we mourn our losses. That's all part of the game. That's just part of life, and in it is a growth and development experience. Embrace Growth is all about creating those kind of experiences inside of a context in which embracing your growth, embracing your personal development, and the development of not just yourself, but your larger self, which is yourself as your relationships, as your family, as your community, as your society or religion or culture, or the world, of humanity itself. My evil plan, if you will, is to have you fall in love with yourself and with all of humanity. And then nobody needs to tell you what's right and wrong anymore. You don't need me anymore. You don't need a doctor or anything else anymore. Once you begin to see yourself as you truly are and expand to fall in love with humanity itself, you will naturally, out of your own personal self-motivation, be doing what is appropriate and right and true. And if you make a mistake, you'll forgive yourself, others will forgive you, and you will move on. We at Embrace Growth are standing in a world in which people have access to their own self-wisdom, their own forgiveness, and they're able to share that with others and cause a future, in other words, to leave a legacy of future that lasts beyond our own lifetime, of love, participation, full self-expression that generates itself. I call it self-sharpening pencils. When you write with a pencil, it's like when you get old, right? You start off really sharp, but then as you write, it starts getting dull, and then you finally get down to the nub. But if that pencil is always, if you were able to constantly sharpen yourself, I get dull, you get dull, everybody gets dull. We get tired, we get used up, we get disappointed, been there, done that, we get jaded. All of those things happen in your life, and so it's time to learn how to sharpen oneself up and to move on being sharp, not move on because, I'm done it, I'm tired and I just got to get out of here, but no, because that's complete. Thank you very much. That was wonderful. And I'm done with that. And then moving on to the next thing, sharp, clear, full of love, full of energy, full of self-expression, ready for the next challenge, knowing that there will be challenges, knowing that there'll be things that you like and don't like, knowing that there'll be things that are really, really hard to do sometimes and you won't want to do them, but you'll find a way to do them anyhow, and that they'll dull your pencil a little bit, but you'll sharpen back up, right? If you can move into a future like that, if you could live in a world where people actually were creating that consciously, knowing that that's what they were doing and causing it in other human beings, raising their children like that, teaching this in school, getting rid of those disempowering belief systems that drag people down and cause them to believe that they are sinners or that they're condemned or that they're going to go to hell if they don't behave in a certain way. That is such bull. I'm sorry, but I'm saying so right here in public. That's just false. Okay? That isn't going to happen. This future that you live in turns out very well, thank you very much, and you need to get on board with that. You need to get on board with that the future is whatever you say the future is. And so if you want to say, okay, the future, involves something extremely negative and painful, okay, well, get used to that. But even that will pass. Even that will pass. There's a time for everything, and even that will pass. And what I've noticed in my own life, and I'm speaking from my own experience, not just some philosophical stuff that I've read, which happens to agree with me, or that I happen to agree with, depending on how you want to look at it, but from my own experience, we actually have the ability to create a future that is impactful and then get excited about it and go live it. I can tell you from my own experience, my actual day-to-day experience right now is that it often, if you're conscious about it, turns out even better than you could have ever imagined. My life has turned out better than I could have imagined, I tell you that. I never would have imagined that I would have the wife that I have and the privilege that I have to participate with people all over the world, teach the things that make people happy, and help people with the things that are hurting them. That's such a privilege, and I'm deeply, deeply honored by it. I came up with something that I call the Hotwire system. Okay, and I'm going to share it with you. And I propose that you actually get out your pen and paper and take some notes about it, because it literally spells HOTWIRE, Hotwire. And if you don't know what hot wire is, it's like if you've seen it in movies 1,000 times, especially if you've watched Fast and Furious, right? It's that thing they do where they pull the wires out from underneath the dash of the car and they hot wire the car so that it starts and you don't need the key. So this is a hot wire system. If you don't have the key, okay, if you're stuck in your life, and while I'm talking, go get your pen and paper, okay, because I'm going to share this with you in a moment. If you get stuck in your life, if you get stuck in your thoughts and your feelings and your emotions and you can't get out, and it seems like the future isn't so bright and you can't even begin to imagine how you could ever be happy again. And I know that there are people that are like that, and if there are, that is watching the show, I'm speaking for you. This is why I call it a Hotwire system, because I've been there. I've been there where you are, where the future looked so bleak that I didn't even want to bother with it. And I was able to short circuit, because all of that is circuitry. That is synapses firing in a specific order and fashion and intensity in your brain. That's all that is. You have thought patterns and they become habitual, and those thought patterns trigger peptides which trigger emotions and physical feelings, and those physical feelings and emotions, as bad as they are, become addicting. And then you cannot even imagine feeling good again, because you're so attached to that negative feeling that if you didn't have it, you would feel lost. You wouldn't know what to do with yourself. You would feel disoriented. If, in fact, everything turned out perfectly and you were joyful and everything that you're worried about went away, your life was filled with things to be happy about, you wouldn't know how to deal with it. You wouldn't know how to be happy about it. You wouldn't know how to express yourself. In fact, you would find yourself subconsciously and automatically, without even being able to control your own behavior, saying and doing certain things that would be the surefire formula to make sure that that happiness went away and that you could return to the familiar state that you're used to. Our brains, our nervous systems are designed to keep us comfortable, even if that comfortable place is miserable. That's better than the fear and the intensity of going outside that comfort zone into something that's completely unfamiliar to you. Joy, happiness, self-expression, fulfillment, wealth, loving people and being loved and admired. All of that could be terrifying to a lot of people. Now, we say we want it. We say we're jealous of people that have it, but if suddenly, tomorrow, it was like that for you, it wouldn't take long before you said something or did something or caused something to happen that would start to bring that back down to a level that you could relate to. So the real problem, the real issue that most people have is they do not have a system. You have it, it's inborn in you, but it's shut down. You haven't awakened a system in you that has the capacity to deal with abundance, prosperity, joy, love, health, well-being, energy, participation. All of that just seems like a big pain in the rear for you. And so I'm going to give you a system. That's why I'm asking you to write it down, because I'm not going to do this again. It's called the Hotwire system, and I call it, the long name is Hotwire System for Accessing Open Reality. We'll talk about open reality and closed reality in a little bit, maybe. But there's two types that I call reality. One's a closed reality. In other words, it's an inner reality and you keep it to yourself and you don't share it. Those realities tend to atrophy and grow smaller and darker and finally diminish and disperse and disappear. Those, an inner reality unshared, in other words, just an inner reality, will eventually, the process of entropy, it'll just diffuse and the system itself will break down into nothingness. Open reality, a reality that is shared and participated in, expands exponentially daily, all the time, and there is no end to it. There is an infinite amount of possibility to express all those things that I've said. Joy, abundance, how happy can you get? As happy as you will allow yourself to be. How rich can you get? As rich as you can allow yourself to be. How healthy can you get? As healthy as you will allow yourself to be. That's the truth. You have limits on things, and you don't even know it. That's the closed part of open and closed reality. Open reality is you don't know what's going to happen next. You're living on the edge of reality. It's scary all the time because you're always outside your comfort zone. You're always expanding outside your comfort zone. So do I recommend this? No. It's a kind of a discomfort that most people can't tolerate. When I say no, I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it if what you want to be in life is comfortable. That other kind of reality, the closed kind that becomes inverted and eventually diminishes, I can't recommend that either. That one is also extremely uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. If you want to be in your comfort zone for your whole life, you're going to get uncomfortable because the world will never allow you to be completely comfortable for very long. You end up being uncomfortable trying to be comfortable. It's more work. If you want your life to expand exponentially and discover all that you have the possibility to be as a human being, and I mean physically, how healthy could you be? How long could you live? How bright can your skin and your eyes and how much energy could you have flowing through your body? You don't even know. You have no idea until you actually begin to experience it, and then you realize there's more and there's more and there's more. How much money could you make? You have no idea. If you were doing that which you were here to do, that you came here to do, if you're doing that to the best of your ability and you're mastering that in your lifetime, you'll have plenty of money and you don't ever have to worry about that. You'll just have plenty of money. What the only thing you have to do is don't do stupid stuff. Don't do stupid stuff and lose it or throw it away or let somebody steal it from you. That's part of the job of having it, right? Spiritually, how open, how enlightened, how bright can you shine? How much can you open your consciousness to take it all in? You have no idea. You don't know. I don't know. It's got infinite potential. That's what I mean by accessing open reality. Hotwire System for Accessing Open Reality by Gregory Morgan, okay? This is my copyrighted thing. Okay, so the H part, you'll see that each part is HOTWIRE, Hotwire. The first one is have. Have whatever thoughts, feelings, and body sensations that you are currently having. Have that. Just have it. Don't do anything with it. Just have it. Notice that you're having right now, at all times, some kind of body sensations, feelings, emotions, and notice that they are finite. Notice that they have a limiting quality to them. In other words, they're not infinite. They're just finite. You have a finite number of emotions. Give them a name if you want to. Name them, write them down. But you have a finite number of feelings and emotions and thoughts, and they come and they go. They're not forever. They're just there. And same with your body sensations. The next one is O, observe. As they change and grow more intense. When you focus on an emotion, a body sensation, thought, or a feeling, notice, observe that they change. You focus on an emotion, it will change. You focus on a body sensation, it may grow more intense. It may begin to diminish and disappear and melt away. Mostly, especially with body sensations, if you focus and you can focus your mind right at the exact location that you're having it, whatever that body sensation is, it may be fluttering in your stomach, maybe tightness in your throat, maybe uneasiness in your stomach. Identify it, observe it, and don't take your mind off it. Just keep observing it and notice. I guarantee you that it will begin to diminish and go away. It may become intense, more intense at first, but then it'll begin to dissolve like sugar in a hot cup of tea. It just cannot stay together. When the light of your consciousness is shown upon it, it begins to dissolve. So observe, just observe. The truth. The T part is the truth. 2 T's. Truth. Right now. The truth now. Tell the truth about what's happening right now. You can't tell the truth about what's happening in the past because it's not happening. You can't tell the truth about what's happening in the future. It's not happening. You can only tell the truth about what's happening right now. Not a second ago, not 5 seconds ago, right now, right now, right now. Start getting present right now. Stop imagining the future or remembering the past and just tell the truth about what's happening right now, okay? And when you begin to tell the truth about what's happening right now, that opens up witness, W. Witness that there is an unending, infinite cosmic dance. Just witness that in the space of what's happening right now. Feel the pressure of your feet on the floor, feel your butt on the chair if you're sitting down. Feel the temperature on your face of the air that you're in. Feel your lungs breathing in and out. Feel behind your eyeballs into the center of your head. Feel your throat. Feel your legs. Feel your stomach. Insides of your hands and arms. In other words, when you begin to tell the truth about what's happening right now, in this instant, what you'll notice is that there's an infinite amount of stuff going on that I call the cosmic dance, the endless unfolding of the cosmic dance. To be human is to be caught up in the dance. To be human is to be out in the world dancing with the world. But there's another part of you as a human being that watches it all. I call this part the witness. So witness, be the witness, and watch what happens. Just watch what's happening in the world around you. Watch your thoughts go by. Watch your body sensations come and go. Just get grounded in other words, get centered in that part of you that is not out dancing around the other part, the part that's watching it all happen. Be centered in the witness. The next one is inquire. Inquire into the worthiness of using up your life force in resisting this situation. What situation? Any situation. Whatever situation has you being uncomfortable, whatever situation has you being distracted, sad, anything other than fully self-expressed and open to any possibility, anything that limits you, anything that holds you down, I want you to begin to inquire into the worthiness. Now this is where you begin to ask yourself questions. Is this worth using my life up for? Really, is this worth resisting? This is just some stuff that's happening. Stuff's happening. I have feelings about it. I have thoughts about it. Those feelings and thoughts are finite. I have body sensations. They're finite. They come and go. They're not permanent. They're just there and then they're not there. So begin to inquire into the worthiness of having your life, the life right now. Tell the truth right now about whether or not it's worthy, whatever it is you're worried about, upset about, disappointed about, sad about, anything other than completely joyful about, in which case you don't need this process. Inquire about the worthiness of whether it's worth spending your life for. And ask yourself, is this situation a true reflection of who I am? Is this challenge, this confrontation, this problem, is it really a true reflection of me? Is that what I am? Ask yourself. Ask yourself, is this circumstances serving my highest good? By being in this circumstance, by being in this situation, is that serving my highest good? Is it serving anyone? And then ask yourself, am I being all that I can be for the people in my life? Am I really being all that I can? And then the next one is release. Release all of your preconceived notions about how things could be, should be, would be. Release all your preconceived notions about what people think, about what will happen, about how this is all going to turn out. Release all your preconceived notions about what you want. Your desires and fixations are just reactions to past failures. They're not even connected to what's happening right now. More like projections. So return your attention to release all of those thoughts, release all of those preconceived notions, release all of those wants and desires, and just return your attention back to what it is right now. Return your attention to how things are right now and tell the truth about that. And the last one is embrace. Embrace your life. Embrace everything about it. Your goal is to have your responses to life be your choice, not somebody else's. Your choice instead of an unconsciously inherited template of reactions. I'm going to say that again. Your goal is to have your responses be your choice instead of an unconsciously inherited template of reaction. This is the true meaning of responsibility. Your ability to respond. The true meaning is ability to respond. You are present to the ability to respond to life as it is right now. You will not have an ability to respond. In other words, you can't be responsible if you can't be present to how life is right now. Telling the truth about it, releasing your preconceived notions, inquiring into life like, is this worth giving my life for? Should I spend even 1 calorie worrying about this or thinking about it? Or is this a reflection of who I really am or who I want to be? Is this the legacy that I want to leave, this person that struggled with this all their life? Is that what I would have my grandchildren say about me? And then just witness the unfolding of life and be centered in that part of you that can both witness life and then go out and dance in it. Okay? So that's the hot wire system. Try this hot wire system next time you get stuck in something. I'll see you back here next week on Love Talk.
در کارگاه‌های آموزشی بانوان به رهبری دکتر آزیتا سایان خود واقعیتان و همچنین مردان را بشناسید و با استفاده از قدرت زنانه خود روابطی سالم و عاشقانه بسازید. ایروان ارمنستان 31 اکتبر تا 2 نوامبر، تورنتو 15 تا 17 نوامبر و همبورگ 28 فوریه تا اول مارچ. 310 460 2600 embracegrowth.com. قدم به قدم از آشنایی تا عشقی ماندگار توسط خانم دکتر آزیتا سایان. هر کجای رابطه که هستی، پیش از شروع، ابتدای راه، قبل از ازدواج و یا مزدوج و بچه دار، با شرکت در این سمینار خارق‌العاده عشقی ماندگار در زندگی خود خلق کنید.
اگه واقعاً بخواید که فکر بکنید که من مرحله به مرحله چجوری با یک کسی آشنا بشم و چجوری رابطه رو تشکیل بدم که تبدیل بشه به یه عشقی که ماندگار باشه توی زندگی من، حتما بهتون توصیه میکنم اونایتون که واقعا براتون مهمه یاد بگیرید این مراحل آشنایی تا نگه داشتن یه رابطه. حالا همه میگن خب من نمیخوام ازدواج کنم، منم اصراری ندارم کسی نمیخواد ازدواج کنه نکنیم، ولی لااقل یاد بگیریم یه رابطه سالم رو بتونیم نگهش داریم.
دوشنبه 25 نوامبر در هتل دابل تری بای هیلتون سانتا مونیکا. بلیط‌های خود را همین الان از وبسایت و یا اپلیکیشن امبریس گروت تهیه کنید و یا با شماره 310 460 2600 تماس بگیرید. یک مرد منحصر به فرد، مسلط، متمرکز، قابل اعتماد و رضایتمند باشید. کارگاه شرافت، عزت کلام و مهارت به رهبری دکتر آزیتا سایان. ایروان ارمنستان 15 تا 17 آگوست، تورنتو 20 تا 22 سپتامبر، همبورگ 18 تا 20 اکتبر و لس آنجلس 13 تا 15 مارچ. برای اطلاعات بیشتر با شماره 310 460 2600 تماس بگیرید. اپلیکیشن امبریس گرو. با ساختن اکانت شخصی شما می توانید وارد پروفایل خود شده و تنظیمات آن را تغییر دهید. به تمامی رویدادها و محصولات دسترسی داشته باشید. با چند کلیک برای سمینارها و کارگاه‌ها ثبت نام کنید و یا وقت مشاوره خود را رزرو نمایید. اپلیکیشن امبریس گروت را امروز از اپ استور دانلود کنید و به خانواده جهانی امبریس گروت بپیوندید.
Embrace Growth has a new home online where you can easily register for workshops and events, order from the online store, and be part of the worldwide community of Embrace Growth graduates. You'll be able to see Dr. Rosita Sayan and Mr. Gregory Morgan in your favorite seminars. Visit us today at embracegrowth.com.
قدم به قدم از آشنایی تا عشقی ماندگار توسط خانم دکتر آزیتا سایان. هر کجای رابطه که هستی، پیش از شروع، ابتدای راه، قبل از ازدواج و یا مزدوج و بچه دار، با شرکت در این سمینار خارق‌العاده عشقی ماندگار در زندگی خود خلق کنید.
اگه واقعاً بخواید که فکر بکنید که من مرحله به مرحله چجوری با یه کسی آشنا بشم و چجوری رابطه رو تشکیل بدم که تبدیل بشه به یه عشقی که ماندگار باشه توی زندگی من، حتما بهتون توصیه میکنم اوناییتون که واقعا براتون مهمه یاد بگیرید این مراحل آشنایی تا نگه داشتن یه رابطه. حالا همه میگن خب من نمیخوام ازدواج کنم، منم اصراری ندارم کسی نمیخواد ازدواج کنه، نکنیم، ولی لااقل یاد بگیریم یه رابطه سالم رو بتونیم نگهش داریم.
دوشنبه 25 نوامبر در هتل دابل تری بای هیلتون سانتا مونیکا. بلیط‌های خود را همین الان از وبسایت و یا اپلیکیشن امبریس گروت تهیه کنید و یا با شماره 310 460 2600 تماس بگیرید.